This is USACO Silver breed counting problem, which is a part of my tutoring class, so let's get started. Farmer John's N cows conveniently numbered, 1 through N, they're all standing in a row, and they all have different cow types. So each cow has a breed ID, 1 for Holsteins, 2 for Guerneys, and 3 for Jerseys. So this is a very classic prefix sum problem in that we're trying to count the number of cows of each breed that lies within a certain interval. So how do you know that this is a prefix sum problem? What's the intuition behind it? Well, you know there's a hint that this is a prefix sum problem because look, the word query is in here. Each time you're trying to process a query, and look, this is a big number, 10 to the power of 5. Each time you're trying to process a query, that means that you have to do some sort of pre-computation. And pre-computation is a good indicator of prefix sums, because prefix sums take O of 1 to retrieve back the information. So keep that in mind and the keywords that were involved with this problem. So let's get started on our solution. Our solution is that we're going to be keeping 3 different prefix sum arrays to keep track of the 3 different breeds. Let me show you what I mean. So we go on to the first prefix sum array. So this array is going to be the prefix sum array for my ID1, so Holstein cows. So notice that this is our sample test case 2 1 1 3 2 1. What I've done here basically is starting from cow 1, so how many cows before that had a cow ID of 1? Okay, let's take a look at cow 1. So cow 1 does not have an ID of 1, so we know that this is 0, okay? Let's take a look at cow 2. Oh, look at cow 2. So cow 2 has an ID of 1, so we increase this by 1. So from here, we add 1. So from cow 1 to 2, we know that there's a total of 1 cow. And let's take a look at cow 3. Now cow 3 is also a 1. So notice from cow 1 to 3 there are a total of 2 cows. So I have 2 for my index of 3. So I added 1 here as well. Let's take a look at cow 4. At cow 4 it's still a 3. So we know that we won't be increasing, so we don't actually do anything here, because the number of cows from cows 1 through 4 still remains the same at 2. Let's take a look at cow 5. So similarly, this would still be 2. And then cow 6 would also be 2. Cow 6 would be 3, because this time notice that the last cow is actually a 1 as well. So we're going to be increasing 1 at the very end. So all I'm doing to construct my prefix summary is taking the previous element and then either adding 1 or adding 0 to it to get the next element. So this is very similar. So this is for our Guerneys, I think that's how you pronounce it. So ID number 2. So if you take a look at our sample test case, notice that 2 here is a cow ID number 2, so we have 1. And then the next cow is a 1, so it's still going to be 1. The cow after that is still 1. But notice that on cow number 5 here, so at index 5, so cow number 5 or index 5, we're going to be increasing by 1 once again because cow number 5 is also a 2. So that's how you kind of construct our prefix sum array, but how can you use this to process our queries? Okay, let's take a look at, let's say 2 to 4. So this is the third query in our sample input. So the last line, if you can take a look. So to calculate this, our formula would be to take our prefix sum array of I minus 1, where this is the value of I, and then all I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be subtracting this from prefix sum array of j, where this represents j. Let me show you what I mean by this. So let's say that I wanted to find from 2 to 4 of cow 1, let's say, so type 1. I'm going to erase all of this. But take a look at our elements. Which 2 should I subtract first? So from 2 to 4, I'm going to be subtracting this one from this one. So I'm going to take the difference of them. Let's take a look at y. Index 4 actually represents the number of cows from cows 1 to 4 that are of type what? Type 1 in this case, because it's number 1, so prefix summary 1. And index 1, what does it represent? It represents the number of cows from 1 to 1 of type 1, sorry. So if we subtract these two numbers, what we're going to get is how many cows are going to be from 2 to 4. So notice how I'm kind of using complementary counting here. So that's kind of like the idea that you want to have for prefix sum arrays. So all I'm going to do for each prefix sum array is, for each query, and then for each prefix sum array, all I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be printing the array of j, where the last number is j, and then the first number is I, and I'm going to be subtracting array of I minus 1, like that. And in the next video, I'll cover the actual code itself.